Madison, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to have you here today because we're talking about optimizing content.
Okay.
Yes, and I know you're the queen of this.
I am.
You are the queen of content at RivalMind. So there are 4 main pieces that I want to discuss. So be ready.
Okay.
I hope you're ready for this.
I'm locked in, loaded.
Okay, I'm just going to drill into you with all these questions. But at the end, I would love you to bust a couple myths for me.
Okay.
And then for our audience, give them at least 2 quick tips that they can do to instantly start optimizing their content. So be thinking about that a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So let's start with the basics. My first question is, what is content marketing?
Jessica, what isn't content marketing?
Oh gosh. Okay.
So everything, and I do mean everything from written content to video content to infographics and photos with like the rise of Pinterest and things like that. Everything is content marketing. Anything that you are willing to put intentionality behind, content marketing.
And that is fascinating. I know we were kind of talking about this yesterday.
Sure.
I, initially as someone who's visually first, I would never initially think, okay, videos and Pinterest, that's serving as content marketing. But you have just, determined that this is really an expansive view of where these resources show up. You can consider it content and potentially if you're marketing that content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anything that you're putting, like I said, that intentionality behind and you're sort of subliminally or maybe overtly putting something in front of someone else to sell them something, whether it's a product or a service or even just like an ideology, that is marketing in and of itself.
All right. Love it. So question number 2, do digital marketing agencies make content?
Well, the good ones do.
Yes. Okay. Does RivalMind make content?
Absolutely.
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 Yes. Talk to me about that. Like a digital marketing agency, what if someone were to determine what agency to go with, what would this be a question that you would encourage people to ask is, do they generate marketing content?
Absolutely. You can do so much with technical SEO and you can see some serious keyword growth or like ranking rising. But if you're not creating new content, there's no way that Google is going to be like, oh yeah, they're an authority in their field and they should always be number 1 for everything. Quality and consistency in producing content is really what gets that ball moving for SEO growth.
Okay. So it's something to consider. Obviously, the user needs to read this.
Yes.
But also search engines, it's very important.
Oh, of course.
Love it. Okay. So question number 3, man, we are moving, we are cooking here. How does SEO and content marketing work together? So again, some people will think, well, aren't they one and the same?
Sure.
So let's kind of talk about how does SEO and content marketing actually work together to make the best result possible?
Yeah, a little bit of myth busting here. So there's a French term, and I won't say it in French because that's a little pretentious, but it's basically that art for art's sake. There are plenty of people out there who have really popular blogs who write just to write because it's something that they genuinely enjoy. There's not a lot of strategy behind it. There's no competitive analysis. There's no like thought as to what I'm answering to get it to rank.
Sure.
When you combine SEO strategy and content marketing, you get this really beautiful little like baby that Google is just going to crawl all over and it's going to love. That's exactly what we do here at RivalMind and is why I encourage anyone who's interested in digital marketing and specifically SEO, ask them what they're doing for content creation.
Okay.
Because they go so well together. And if you're missing one half of that equation, you just sort of fall flat.
Yeah.
Here at RivalMind, everything that we do is competitively analyzed, strategically sort of thought and created with the idea of what gaps are we missing to get this particular client to rank?
Yeah. And I know, especially when that comes to competitors that we analyze. So, okay. So that actually is great because it leads into my final question before we start busting some myths. Let's talk about strategic content planning. So what factors make content successful? And I'm going to give you a little bit of a lead on this.
Okay.
So what I, have observed is the core competencies, the considerations there, customers' questions, are you answering them?
Yep.
And then what type of unique descriptions or any internal linking. So I led you into that. Talk to each one of those. Do those have value? And what is actually going to make content successful?
Yeah, so we're going right back. I always like to say when people send me really long text messages, I just go, thank you for my TED Talk. Because sometimes people, they love to write. And I love writing. Girl, I was an English major. I love writing. I love reading. But there has to be a reason for what you're writing. You have to be answering a question. If you're just writing and then, putting something up on your website with no real thought behind it, the likelihood of it ranking is kind of on the lower end. But more importantly, beyond just ranking, the possibility of someone clicking on that asset and then going, yep, I'm going to go further down this customer journey, or I'm going to convert right here on the page.
Yeah.
Gone.
So once you have that solution that you're providing, what are some things that people need to do within that content to make it successful?
We need to make sure that all of our technical aspects are correct.
Okay.
We want to make sure that we've got really bomb meta descriptions and meta titles.
Okay.
We want to make sure that we've got alt text on the page. We want to make sure that we have a really solid internal linking structure because sometimes you can't answer all of the questions in one blog, nor do I think that you should.
Okay.
I think you should stay pretty concise to that one question and then provide opportunities for the customer or the client or whoever to go further and further down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
Because that's how you keep people on your site longer and that's how more people convert.
Okay. We like rabbit holes around here.
We love rabbit holes around here.
Okay. So keep that in mind, what you're mentioning, the internal linking, because I think that's going to come up in potential tips or tricks. So let's see. So fantastic job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You answered all of my questions. So I need you to bust 2 myths for me.
Okay.
The first one is it okay to have duplicate content on your website?
So, okay, answer me this question. Do you mean the same blog in 2 different places, or do you mean the same type of theme but answered in 2 separate blogs?
Well, you tell me what I mean. I would say give me both.
Okay. So if it's the same blog in 2 different places, I don't know why you would do that. That seems a little silly to me. You're driving traffic into 2 different places and you're just sort of splitting your audience.
Sure.
Google's not necessarily going to punish you for that, but it doesn't make any sense. So no, bye.
Yeah.
Now, if you're answering the same question or the same theme in 2 different places, let's dig into that a little bit. Are you providing enough differentiation between those 2 blogs to provide actual value?
Okay.
If you were to head onto the RivalMind website right now, you would see probably 10 different blogs answering what is SEO or how much does SEO cost. But there's this really specific reason behind why we have it built that way. Each time we answer that question, you get something a little bit deeper or something a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's not that the answer is necessarily changing, but we're digging deeper and deeper into that answer and providing different answers based off of what the user's search intent is.
Okay. So what about if a company has value propositions on multiple pages and it says the same thing? Why they bring value?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Acceptable?
Totally fine.
Okay.
Totally fine.
That's great. So really case in point is you can have themes across your resources, but you don't necessarily want to write the same copy continually over and over again.
Yeah, because you're just driving the traffic into too many places. Keep it consolidated. Keep it simple.
Focused.
Yes.
Okay, love it. Myth number 2, can I post without a target keyword? Is that true or not true?
Well, I don't know why you would. If you're posting without a target keyword, we're going right back to what I said, art for art's sake. That's fine if you just want to write because writing is your gig. Absolutely. But if you are writing without a target keyword or you're writing without answering that question, the possibility of you ranking is so low, it's sort of well, why did I put all of this work and effort into something that's never really going to produce any fruits of my labor?
Yeah. So target keyword is important
Absolutely.
if you want your content to actually be optimized.
Yeah. And then make sure that when you pick your target keyword, that it's actually something that you can rank for. We have it all the time where someone's like, I have a fantastic idea. Let's hit this super broad, high marking keyword. And then you're like, you have an authority score of 5.
Yeah. So you got to build up that brand a little bit before you start going after it to trying to tackle the tough stuff.
Yeah. Go after those long tail keywords and you're going to find that you go real fast.
Right up. Love it. Okay. So the quick wins that you could provide our audience today, what would you say would be 2 quick wins that they could start with in order to start optimizing their content today?
All right. So first things first, I would say people, keep your content fresh. Keep updating your content. If you've got a blog on your website right now that says, for 2023, girl, it's 2025. Let's keep this fresh.
Yes.
I don't want to be reading about what we were doing 3 years ago. I want to know what we're doing today.
Yeah.
And sometimes that information doesn't change because, maybe things in your industry move a little bit slower. Change the date. Just keep things up to date.
Yeah.
And then sometimes even if you don't, it's not just about the date. things just change. So, move your keywords around, refresh things, touch things up a little bit, and you'll find that Google loves when you do that.
Okay. Would you say that it's better to go back and refresh a piece of content, the content and the date, or to generate a new piece of content that is revised with the updated information of whatever it is you're discussing?
I think it depends. Okay. I know that's an SEO
totally SEO question.
Yeah. If that resource is driving so much traffic to your website that it would be a mistake to lose it,
yes,
write content scale yourself.
Yeah.
Write something different.
Okay.
If you are finding that there's no traffic on this blog, totally refresh it. Find something else to fix within it, and give yourself a leg up.
Okay. So my last quick win question really is, you mentioned something there about content scaling. I'm going to see if this is where you're going to go.
Okay.
What would be the next quick win you would provide the audience with today?
I would say try, if content pillars aren't your thing, I would say try a content web.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is picking a central theme, kind of like a content pillar, but instead of building out the pillars to support that central theme, find what connects to it. So the same way that you have a web, you've got that like circly bit in the middle, and then everything just sort of connects into that center point.
Yeah.
Figure out what your connections are. Those are usually also your long tail keywords, and those are the things that are going to help you rank and build your authority so that at one point in time, you can get those more general keywords.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to mention content scaling. It's something that we're doing quite well here at RivalMind.
Yes,
so
we are.
I love that idea of taking one resource and looping other resources off of that to some degree when they're talking about the same thing.
Yep.
So thank you for your wisdom. Great job.
Thanks so much for having me, Jess.
Come back soon.
I can't wait.